All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our webinar Creating Employee Communication Your Staff Will Love, powered by Valo, a staff based company. We are very happy that you decided to join today's webinar and spend this morning together with us. Before we start with the content, first of all, obviously, introductions. My name is Edyta Gorzon. I'm a partner manager responsible for EMEA region at Valo. Besides to that, I'm Microsoft MVP from Office Apps and Services area and also adoption and change management consultant. I love topics related with change management and adoption, especially when we talk about Microsoft technology. And I have a big pleasure to lead this webinar together with my colleague Ruud. Ruud, you can
Yes, hello.
introduce yourself.
Good morning, and 12 points from the Netherlands to stay in the Eurovision vibe. I'm a technical partner manager during the day for the Valo product suite, and during the evening I like to play with my Legos.
Excellent. Yeah, Lego is always great, right?
Yeah. And what does a technical partner manager do? Know the insights of the Valo product and also be able to translate it to use cases and user stories, etc. So
That's
being the
right.
translator.
All right, but our today's webinar is about communication. Therefore, let's start with scratch and then we'll go through the details. So first of all, we all know that communication is a natural component of our lives, which brings people together and closer to each other. Employee communication is essential for both, for individual and for team success. It helps to reduce misunderstandings, develop strong relationships, boost knowledge and innovation inside organization, and also increase the employee productivity. Why does it matter? Well, people they make companies, and these companies can exist only when all the employees they go in the same direction. And the direction is defined by internal communication, what means people employee communication. So good employee communication makes people happy and more productive. When we move to the next slide, we have very nice circle where we have the entire logic behind better internal communication, which triggers better work environment, meaning that we feel informed, we do not afraid to share our comments, we do not afraid to get help and also support each other, but also discomfort triggers higher employee engagement. Thanks to higher employee engagement, well, higher productivity and efficiency. And as a result, a company can register higher revenue, profits, and success at the end. And when we look at the employee communication and barriers and technology, maybe Ruud can share something about it.
Yeah, we have a slide with a lot of numbers, and the following numbers say something about the way you can improve your employee engagement. And employee communication, from my point of view, is all about engaging your employees. What the benefits are of more engaged employees, Edyta already showed us on the previous slide. But let's take a look at the first three ones. The first two are obvious: a pay increase. Taking more paid time off from work makes better employees, makes more engaged employees. Okay, these are obvious. But the third one that's interesting. Um, Numerous reports state that employees are happier, so more engaged, when technology, digital solutions, make their work day easier. So digital solutions can help you to engage your employees more and more and more. Um, yeah, a way you can do it. No, let's just click one time, Editor. Yes.
Okay.
When you incorporate these new technology or new solutions or new digital tools, it is a way to rebuild or create. Let's focus on rebuild because you already have a company culture or an office culture. To rebuild and reshape your company culture. The last 2 years, I don't want to get back to it, but we have to do it. The last 2 years taught us that communication changed, the work landscape changed. Work from home became an issue in all the countries in the world, and where possible, you needed to work from home, etc. So your communication and your employee communication should also change. And when you start using those digital solutions, you have the opportunity to reshape your communication landscape. For example, let me get back to that last point in a minute. For example, if you want to open up more, if that's a goal of your C-level management, open up more, be transparent, be more transparent in your communication, just do it. With these new tools, you have the possibility to open up more and be more transparent. Maybe another goal is to be more agile. I wanted to include that buzzword once, but I'll only do it once, promised. If you want to be more agile in your way of working, so self-steering teams with their own accountability. The tools and technology is there to support your company and your culture in that change. So just do it. If it's a goal of your company, you have the possibility to do it. But I think it's easy to start simple. Make information findable, searchable. Um, can you mute everybody, Edyta, please?
I can try.
Yes, thanks. Just start simple. Make the information retrievable from a one-stop shop. Create that personal dashboard. Create that portal where information can be retrieved from one place. Maybe information is not integrated into one system, but scattered over multiple systems. That's not an issue. It's the tools and solutions you have to work with, so that's not an issue. But make them retrievable from one point of entry. That saves frustration. Frustration equals stress. And when with less frustration and less stress and less time consuming jobs, you have happier people, more engaged people. Yes.
All right. Yeah, that was good. Thank you, Ruud, for sharing your insights. And yeah, I fully agree that technology can remove employee communication barriers. However, when we talk about the communication barriers, meaning challenges in the modern world, we identified many of them based on our own experience, but also based on different reports. And let me share just a few of them to give you the bigger picture. First of all, complexity. Numerous systems that are not designed to work together, or quite often they are not integrated. They simply do not communicate. And at the end, sometimes users, they have to update two or more systems in the same time. Another challenge in the modern work, we all are human beings, so the feeling of being disconnected from workplace, from our colleagues, also emotional and physical barriers, all of those things are struggling us on daily basis, and at the end, our well-being is disturbed. Fear of change or resistance to change. I'm a change manager, so I know exactly this point from my own experience. However, it's a fact that the majority of human beings it's not willing to change something. We are simply risk averse. So when we are getting a lot of new tools, like you mentioned, pandemic and so on, many companies they just roll out Teams, for instance, or any other systems to communicate each other. Many people they were really afraid of this. Should I click? How to use this system? I'm not sure how my work will look in the future. Lack of alignment. The information created by the team has trouble being communicated for the rest of the organization. I'm sure that many of you experience bottlenecks in communication. It's extremely important to, keep this alignment and also with the communication methods to guarantee the users that they are informed in a nice way. Quite often when I talk about bottlenecks in communication, I mention very easy example. For instance, I go for vacation. So normal thing, everyone goes for vacation. When I go for vacation, I have to inform my supervisor, I have to inform Ruud and colleagues from my team, I have to inform the partners that I'll be away, I'll be not responding your messaging and calls. I should inform my family, my partner, my kids, and so on. There is a lot of people engaged just because of small thing which is happening in my life, vacation. And when we think about business side, we have to make an important business critical decision, and those bottlenecks are happening, then yeah, it's hard to succeed at the end with our business. And the last one, I'm sure that many of you also experience this feeling 24/7. There are so many communication happening all the time. We are getting notifications, we are getting pings from different apps, our work apps, but also from the apps from our private life. And at the end, our work-life balance is simply in danger. And yeah, maybe a few facts about teams when I already mentioned teams, Ruth.
Yeah, another slide with percentages. Nice. These percentages come from the same reports as we used to create the previous slide with some numbers on it. But what do they mean? Um, these numbers represent the growth of MS Teams users during the last 2 years and divided into specific areas of your business. So when you see those growth numbers and you want to have the opportunity to reshape your communication landscape, this is the time to do it. Microsoft Teams is evolving rapidly, and of course we are talking about Teams, but you can also replace Teams with Slack, for example, if you're not into the Microsoft ecosystem and you want to use other tools. There are numerous tools which I don't know if they show the same growth number, but they also show growth. And they also give you the possibility to reshape your communication landscape now if you see the need for it. And the need is certainly there. Yes. But let's take a look at Microsoft Teams because we love Microsoft 365. So Microsoft Teams, let me pick some points from this one. And two of them, business application integration and automation of daily business processes. Those are key to enlighten the workload or to lighten the workload of your colleagues. For example, the what Edyta told, the application for a holiday can be really easy. Just include it in a workflow or in even a custom app, for example, for your phone or in your Teams environment, and allow your colleagues and enable your colleagues to request their time off really easily from one single point of entry from their personal dashboard. Another one, which takes a lot of time during a workday, is searching for files and content and people. Develop a system, develop a structure which works for everybody, and give your employees the information they need. Don't overload them with everything. If they're searching for HR policies, just only give them the HR policies which are applicable for their country, for example. Not give them everything. No, give them an easy enterprise search dashboard where they can search for things and filter in search results. And the last one, end-to-end security and being in control of access to your environment. Microsoft Teams is one of the major parts is chatting and meeting and video calling. Can also be done with WhatsApp. Chatting with your colleagues in WhatsApp, sharing information in WhatsApp. Why not? It's end-to-end security. From that point of view is secure. But from an IT admin point of view and a security point of view, it's not secure because you do not control access to WhatsApp. If one of your colleagues leaves the company and he or she wants to carry their mobile number with them, they might be still member of WhatsApp groups. And that's a security risk. You cannot control who is a member of that WhatsApp group. With with the identity management in, for example, 365 or in Slack or the tools you control, you can make sure that those people who leave the company don't have access anymore to company information.
Thanks, Ruth, for sharing. Yeah, the security topic. It's something what I also remember from my customer stories, WhatsApp or Facebook or even Facebook groups. Yeah, it triggers a big danger from the from business perspective. But I'm happy that you also mentioned this application. I mean, application that the structure how to search something inside our systems. Because while moving to the next slide, I also listed a few internal communication challenges from the end user perspective. So something what really impacts end users. And first, when I started to thought about this, first was where can I find? That was the question I heard many times from this different customers. I also heard in my company, where can I find Edyta? Do you know where is this file, this specific information, this specific content? So this is one of the challenges, and at the end, this is time-consuming process and very frustrating. The other challenge, obviously not enough knowledge about basic platform use and settings. First of all, we shouldn't assume that everyone is IT pro or everyone is extremely fluent with the technology. No, people, they are not. They are great in other skills, but technology, this is something what should help them, but not something what should be their expertise. And also when we start rebuild our communication while using technology, we should remember about education, how to use those tools, explain them in a very nice way. And obviously training is a part of adoption process. We all know that adoption is not training, it's just a component of it. However, if adoption is a process, learning is also a process. When we hire a new people, new hires from outside, we should put a lot of effort to educate them even more because we cannot meet with those people quite often face to face and provide them helpful information how to use specific system. Actually, it would be good to have dedicated time for getting those skills. Learning is a process like learning a new language. We cannot learn new language by heart in 1 week, so we cannot expect from our colleagues that they will learn new system and new best habits in 1 week. Switching the context. Yeah, again, here I listed Outlook, Teams, and Intranet, but you can replace those tools with different ones. But switching the context, this is a problem. Once we look at inside Outlook, then in Teams, then we change for browser, and we simply lose the focus. And yeah, constant pings, chats, and too many notifications. This is something what I already touched in the previous slide, and sense of communication overload. We simply cannot focus. We feel tired and exhausted because of constant information coming from outside. Yep.
Yeah, I want to add one thing to that. Even a great way for adoption also is to add a what to use when
Oh,
slide
yeah.
or handout, for example. You have different tools in your ecosystem, and people struggle. Let's take a look at the 365 ecosystem. People struggle. When do they need to use Yammer? When do they need to use Teams? When do I use OneDrive? Teams one-on-one chats or Teams channel chats, for example. People
Right.
need guidance in which use case or which situation they need to share something via OneDrive or via Teams, for example. It's really
Uh,
important.
very good hint. Thank you, Ruth. Yeah, I fully agree.
Yeah, now let's focus on the main communication channels in 365. We have the intranet in your browser, or even if you have a cool intranet in a mobile app, for example. An intranet, in my personal point of view, is about pushing communication out to your employees. But we want a social intranet, we want interaction, and we want to like news and react on news, etc. Okay, if you do it right, you also have social engagement on news. But social engagement, it's not a given. You need to invest time to attract people to the intranet. And in the beginning, it's really easy to attract people to the intranet because it's shiny and new, but that shiny and new layer that wears off over time. You need them to keep them interested in the intranet. You need to attract them to the intranet over and over again. Create attractive content. Of course, and yeah, let me say it quite bluntly, we also have the boring company news, the need to know news, things you need to know about investors, about stock options, whatever news they have, but also create engaging news and attractive news. What attractive news is different for all the companies and even for different age groups, of course. Also think about the way you deliver news to them. Are you going to do vlogs? Are you going to do blogs? Are you going to do just news posts, for example? Experiment with them. What is working in your organization? Maybe you want to enable everybody to create news, to create personal blogs. People will do it, but to make people do it and take that first step, you might need to use influencers on it. Yes, influencers do have a value in your company. They can create an environment and an ecosystem and a culture where people dare to show their personal things. They're highly valuable when you want to create social engagement on your intranet. And to the right of it, email. Email is there since a really long time, and email is still there. It's still a valuable channel. Email is a way to set focus on your urgent and important messages. People do follow their inbox all the time because they see the pop-ups and they see the notifications in their taskbar. So if there's something urgent and really important, you can use email to set focus on these messages. But with email, you can also reach the employees you cannot reach with other tools because you hire them from another company, for example, and they don't have an account on your environment. Or they are frontline workers and they don't have an account in your 365 environment and they don't have an email address. Or they are frontline workers and they don't have the time to spend browsing the intranet on their desktop like desk workers do. You can use email to reach also these employees, but reduce email overload and combine messages in attractive weekly newsletters. Don't spam them 3 messages a day. No, just combine them in daily digests or in weekly digests, depends on the amount of news items. Email is still there to stay. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's good to have some specific rules set it up in our Outlook, right, Ruud?
Yeah. Yeah, you can create your rules indeed in Outlook to automatically transfer email messages from your intranet to a specific folder, for example, if your email box gets cluttered. Or a handy one is to automatically move out of office replies to a specific folder or to the trash can. That's also possible.
Yeah, that really helps to reduce this information overload, that's for sure.
Yep.
Okay, but we have internet, email, those are, let's call it this way, a little bit old school methods for keeping the communication, but we
But
also have,
still valuable.
yes, but still valuable, yes, but we
And we
also have the
have,
others.
yeah, we also have 2 new kits on the block. Although Microsoft Yammer is not that new, it's also an older channel, but they do have a different use case. Sometimes you hear Yammer is dead and Microsoft Teams replaced Yammer, etc. Okay, maybe in your company, but from a Microsoft point of view, Yammer is certainly not dead, and Yammer certainly doesn't replace Microsoft Teams. They serve a different purpose. And Microsoft Yammer, look at it as a Facebook or a LinkedIn to connect to people in a large scale. But you connect on a social level with a lot of people in your company. And let's say you have a big company with 10,000 of employees. So it's really good to see what's happening throughout the whole company. Not as a deep dive, no, on a higher level. Yammer is for your outer loop communication, your outer circle, outer loop. Microsoft Teams, on the other hand, is for your inner circle, is for your inner loop. Microsoft Teams for collaboration, so a deep dive into what's happening in the company. You are collaborating to execute your day-to-day job, to get the job done. Microsoft Yammer is to explore what's going on in the company, but on a high level. Microsoft Teams is for sharing knowledge and, as said, for collaboration. And is for a private audience. Maybe you have a company-wide team, of course, where everybody is included. But in that company-wide team, you are not going to deep dive into the sales number of week 13 in 2022, or to that new technology you're developing together with your colleagues to get things done, or the new HR policies. You're not working together with everybody on the new HR policies. Although I would like to do it with HR to create better policies for me, but no, you're not working together with them on those policies. It's a private audience. Yammer is an open community. A very big difference between Yammer and Microsoft Teams. Let me mute everybody.
Yep. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So we said a lot about
Sorry.
communicate. Yep.
One thing I wanted to add. Sorry.
Okay.
Between Yammer and Teams, there's also a gray area. And that might mean that things grow out of control inside Teams. And that might be a time to move them to Yammer because they are too big. People are mentioned everywhere and they don't know what they should do with it. That might be a good time to move things for your company-wide team to Yammer.
Yeah, and the truth is that some companies they love Yammer, and the others they say that there is a waste of resources to maintain another system internally. So obviously, depending what's your choice, you can go with Yammer or not. All right, we said a lot about challenges. We also explained what are the communication channels available from Microsoft 365 ecosystem. However, we assume that since you joined our webinar and Teams is developing fastly as we saw on the numbers, we can share some useful user life hacks. How to decrease the number of different information which are coming from Teams, but also how to shape better this environment to be more friendly for you. For that, we created the list of different improvements. And I believe that talking about improvements, it's not the best idea. So maybe we can show one by one or a few of them how to do them in practice. Review your notifications first. Ruud, would you like to take
Yeah,
control?
let me share, or I already shared my screen, and let me show you the way to review your notifications and gain control over all those pop-ups and pings and things. First of all, Teams sends emails.
Mm-hmm.
Teams is there to unclutter your email inbox, but it also clutters your email inbox because it sends daily digest, for example, and things you missed.
And this
In
is
the beginning,
default. Yeah, and
yeah,
this is
it's default
default
behavior.
is default. So every time when you start using first time Teams and you haven't checked your settings, yeah, this feature is enabled. So every time when you are getting notification after 1 hour, you will get an email. And we reduce number of emails. So why we want to get the emails from Teams, right? So maybe it makes sense to change the setting as one
Yeah.
of the first.
But in the beginning, it is valuable to see that you're not missing things because you're not used to the notification or your activity feed, for example. But when you want to disable it, just go to the top right of your screen and select your settings. And then go to notifications. And here you have the missed activity emails. And I want them disabled. And it's done. The great thing in all these settings is that it follows your user around. So if you get a new laptop, for example, and you log in with Teams, those settings are there automatically. If you're using it from the browsers, from a browser or your desktop or your mobile phone, those settings are there automatically. So you don't have to set it on every device you are using it. In this screen, you also have other options to customize your notifications. And all these customized notifications for chat, for example, there we go. They are applicable to all the chats in your teams and also to all the teams in your teams and to all the channels in your teams. But what you also can do is set up custom channel notifications. For example, if there's a channel which is really active and is mentioned a lot, but it's not that important for you, then you can just disable notifications for it. Go to the settings of a channel, go to channel notifications, disable that, or create customized notifications if you would like to do it. All new posts off, channel mentions when a channel is mentioned, so when you're using the ad and then the name of the channel, for example, you can also turn them off or only show in the feed or also show a pop-up, for example. Just different settings on a channel level. And what also is a really, really good solution is to mute chats. What you can do when you have a meeting, for example, and there's a really active chat going on, but it's not important for you. What you can do then is select the options of the chat. In this case, it's a chat with a colleague, but also a meeting chat, of course, and just mute it. You will not get notifications from that specific meeting chat, for example. This is, I think, the most valuable addition to Teams for me for the last, when was it released? 2020, I believe, or 2019.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know that this is your favorite feature.
Yeah. But we also have other life hacks, not only on mentioning and keeping your environment silent. What also is a great possibility, if you have a lot of teams and channels, or you have a team with a lot of channels, you can also pin channels to the top. So you can easily see them and go to them. The way you do it is just select the channel you want, go to the options of the channel and select pin. And now it's there. When there's new information in it, it's of course also bold, like technology watch here, then it's also highlighted over here. If you want to unpin something, you never guessed it, just go to the options and unpin the channel. Another one, yeah, the do not disturb status. If you wish to focus, just set do not disturb. Busy is not enough. You still get pop-ups. You also get pop-ups when you're sharing your screen, your full screen. Then also everything is popped up in your full screen. And if the settings is like that, that also a part of the message is included, everybody can read it also. If you are sharing your full screen, set it to do not disturb. Then pop-ups are suppressed and not shown. Do not disturb. Don't forget to undo not disturb yourself when you're available again. Another one?
My two favorite ones, actually.
Yeah, you like to save things for later.
Yes, I really like savings.
Yeah,
Save
yeah.
things
When
for later and
when
creating
when
the tasks. Yeah.
yeah, when it's a busy time in your teams, for example, after the weekend or after a day off, for example, you have a lot of activity to catch up with. It is possible for messages that you need to respond to or do something with to save them for later. Let's go to a chat or to a personal messages, no problem. And I want to save this one. Just go to the options of the message you want to save and say save this message. Saving it isn't that hard. Where to find it? We saw a pop-up in the top right of the screen. Click on your image and go to saved. Now it's opening the list of saved messages. You can catch up with them, do whatever you need to do with them, and when you're done, just click the label and they are unsaved again. A nice way to create, and it's back. Nice. And it's gone now. Yes. Okay. A nice way to create a short-term to-do list for your day, what you need to do today with the Teams messages, for example. But another possibility, when you go to a team or a chat again, is to automatically create a to-do task. And a to-do task is created in Outlook, is also shown in Outlook, is also shown in your to-do list in the to-do app, for example, is shown in the widgets you can use on your Android phone, for example, for Microsoft To Do. The way you do that is also just select a message, go to more action, create a task. You can add them to different buckets you want to use. You can set the priority, even a due date to get notifications on it, and add some custom notes. Let's go to add a task. And now let's go to Outlook. I'm in the browser, but it's also in your local installation, of course, and open to do. There we go. Now in my tasks, there is something about this message. I didn't add anything else, but there's no remind, there's no due date, just the default note that was created, and it's in the tasks because I didn't select another bucket. This one is the long-term to-do list. A really good addition because you can see it in Outlook, in your to-do app, even on your mobile phone, for example. Yeah. Two ways to save messages. Another important one, we already talked a little bit about work-life balance, and I believe in France there's even there are local laws around it that you have the right to be not disturbed by your employer. In the Teams mobile app, I cannot show it to you, but in the Teams mobile app, it's possible to set your silent hours. Please do so. You are not bothered by notifications when it's set to silent. Please do so. It's in the settings of the app. And now one which makes life for you and your colleagues easier. When you have a channel with some files, let's see, do we have files? Yeah, there's the possibility to pin files to the top. When you have a large list of files here, it's easy to pin the most important ones to the top. The way you do it, of course, go to the options of the file. This one is already pinned, sorry. Let's go to this one. Pin to the top. There we go. And now it's there. If you want to remove one, go to the file, edit pin, and unpin. You can even change the order of the pinned files with move to right or move to left from that same menu. A really easy way to show the most important documents from this specific library. There's another life hack. If you have meetings and you have to invite several people, it's also possible to create channel meetings. Just create a channel meeting. People can join it who are a member of the team, so it's really easy to do it. The recording is automatically stored in the team. You don't have to upload things, etc. But don't use this in large channels. Everybody will be able to join And when you have someone replying on your invitation from the channel, then it's automatically replying to everybody in that team. And that's really annoying for 99.9% of all the other members of the team.
Thank you, Ruud. That was great. Great demonstration. I really like all of those best practices and small features you have presented. But yeah, it would be good also to share some Microsoft Teams best practices overall. If you could just make this slide screen a little bit better
Yep.
to be visible for our lovely audience. Thank you so much. So first of all, less is more. I spoke with many Microsoft specialists. I also experienced a few different teams implementation projects and adoption projects. And from my experience, it's better to have less teams with more channels than the other way around. If we belong to many teams, then we start to get lost. And this communication flow is not that great as expected. So the question, where can I find, appears more often. You should think twice before you add another channel. I saw teams where there were 40 channels, 50 channels, even more. First of all, it's hard to understand where to find what, although they were named with the specific name with kind of suggestion what is inside. Half of them were zombie channels. So please think twice while adding new channel. Maybe it's possible to reuse the channel you already have. Or for instance, have a channel for real specific actions, like meetings. We have our team meetings as a channel meeting. We have entire communication over there, all the recordings, and then this channel makes sense. Create a team or channel for social chat and off-topic conversations. Yeah, we mostly work from home or in kind of hybrid scenarios. So maybe it's good to have channel or team as a virtual kitchen or for virtual coffee breaks, just to let people to socialize a bit, share some off-topic conversations. To avoid bottlenecks, use conversations in teams instead of group chats. This is a good example with my vacation I already mentioned. But yeah, we cannot assume that only this group of people in this specific chat should be informed. Sometimes we don't even think about it, that maybe information we're sharing or feedback we're giving might be useful also from the other people from our organization. While creating a new team or channel, well, think twice about privacy. First of all, we should remember that when we add a new channel, there is a privacy setting, private or standard. And when we select once private or standard, we cannot change it afterwards. I saw many examples in my life when especially top management thought that private channels, this is something what we want to have. And this is important because those data are very important. But then after 2 or 3 months, Edyta, you're a consultant, we have a problem because we took those private channels. We had some ongoing conversation there, some files, and now we want to change it for standard because of different reasons. We changed the strategy. So unfortunately, it's not possible by definition. Or check the team settings and make sure that they match your expectations. Every time when you set up a new team in Teams and you are an owner, you should remember that all the team settings are very liberal. When you check what members can do, actually they can do a lot of things. Everything is enabled. That's why it's good to think, if I really want to allow to do all of those things by members. If I trust them and so on, it's fine. If they are fluent with Teams technology, it's great. However, does everyone should be able to create channels or remove them, or adding, removing tabs and applications? Yeah, it also can trigger some communication problems at the end. So this is something what we should remember about.
Yeah,
Or quite, yeah.
one thing to add there. For example, if you create a channel for your decisions to communicate all the decisions made in the company, it could be advisable to disable the possibility for normal members to create new messages there. They
Yeah,
can react to your decisions which you create there. So to your messages, they can react to the messages, but they cannot create their own new messages there. Oh, and
that's
never disable GIFs, of course. Never disable animated GIFs.
I knew some companies, the public sector, where sometimes those things were also disabled. But anyway, we also can create org-wide teams. They might be useful as a good extension for the current intranet. If we, for instance, don't use Yammer, this might be good way of having those teams. However, there is always the danger with org-wide teams that if somebody mentioned a team name, then everybody is getting notifications. So there is always a question, should we have those teams? Because people are automatically added to this team in our company.
Yeah, and the same for channels, for example. You think, oh, I only
Right.
mentioned the channel. No, if it's in an org-wide team, everybody in that team is automatically a member of that channel. So when they did not change their notifications settings for that specific channel, they are also mentioned in that channel. So think about, is this channel organization wide, or should it be in a specific product team or sales team or location team, for example?
Indeed, indeed. But yeah, thankfully there is always kind of work around, but of course it's a matter of education. We can use tags. So another point on our list, we can create a group of people, let's say salespeople, and with the specific name, like salespeople, let's call it this way. That might be the good name. While mentioning salespeople, only people who are salespeople, they are notified by Teams. The others from our team, they don't get notifications. So this is kind of workaround. However, it requires from end users to be kind of good with all Teams features to really use this practice. And yeah, the last one, we shouldn't forget about the limitations in Teams. Quite often when users they hear limitations, they think, it's not our topic. Actually, IT pros, our IT admins, they should take care about it. They should know what kind of software they provide and so. However, since we work with teams and quite often we are teams owners, we should be aware of some of those limitations. For instance, only 200 channels or only 30 private channels in a team, for example. So those things are also also important to be remembered. All right, Ruud.
Yes. Sorry. So, yes, since we
We
do
are
not have
running.
that much time to spare, we won't bother you anymore with demos from our own products and trying to sell it to you. But just go to the latest and most important message of or not the most important message from the webinar. Editor, please.
Yeah, let me present this message. So, yeah, business should measure the effectiveness of their communication, eliminate or change the ones that aren't working, and make sure that end users know how to use the tools they got. Communication is changing. Communication has to be checked from time to time if we really follow the good direction. Some improvements are always necessary. We are changing, world is changing, organizations changing, therefore our communication practices, they should also change. And yeah, something what we mentioned a few times, we should know that our users, they really know how to use the tools. Although we have something, we implemented something, we have to check from time to time what's the leverage, what's the knowledge level. Ruth, would you like to add something to this last sentence?
Yeah, one thing, measuring effectiveness goes hand in hand with analytics, etc. And there are tools now on the market which even measure sentiment in your organization. So
Yep.
that's for bigger organizations, that's really valuable to just know what is happening amongst a large group of people. sentiment analysis. That's yeah, that's a big thing. That's becoming a big thing. Yeah, I like it. It's really valuable.
All right. All right, that was the last sentence. Thank you so much. Yeah, questions, answers. You can ask us directly with unmuting yourself, or if you wish to share any interesting story about your internal communication, that would be also nice to hear. Yeah, just feel free. We are here for you. Okay, some silence in the air. I know how it works.
See,
Okay, if we don't
erased.
have
No,
any questions, if I can see good comments, I feel so sorry, Anthony. That's, yeah, no gifts. Oh no. Oh no. All right. So thank you so much. Thank you for joining. It was a pleasure to be with you here, and have a great rest of the day. See you around.
Thank you
thank
very
you. Bye bye.
much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.